The more you try to be good to everyone, the more people test how much of you they can take. The more you explain yourself, the more they doubt you. The more you avoid conflict, the more conflict follows you in disguise. You feel it already, don't you? You answer politely, yet people still cross the line. You stay patient, yet they keep pushing further. You give respect first, yet somehow you are the one being dismissed, interrupted, delayed, ignored, used, and treated like an option. You begin to wonder if kindness is weakness, if silence is invisibility, if being decent in this world is just another way to be consumed. But listen carefully. You think people test you because they dislike you, but actually, many test you because they are trying to measure you. They want to know where your line is. They want to know what happens when pressure touches your calm. They want to know whether you belong to yourself, or whether anyone can own pieces of you with enough persistence. Most people never realize this. They think every disrespect is random, every interruption is random, every late reply, every broken promise, every sarcastic jab, every subtle dismissal, every moment someone talks over them, underestimates them, takes them for granted. They think these are isolated moments. They are not. They are questions, and your behavior is the answer. Every single time you tolerate what wounds you, you answer. Every single time you laugh at disrespect to keep the mood light, you answer. Every time you over-explain your boundaries so nobody feels uncomfortable, you answer. Every time you say yes while your soul says no, you answer. And life records those answers with brutal accuracy. You may hate hearing that, but this truth can save you years. Because the pain is not only that people test you, the pain is that you keep failing tests you don't even know are happening. You keep thinking the problem is them, when the hidden problem is your signal. You are broadcasting confusion. You are telling the world, I need harmony more than I need self-respect. You are telling people, push a little harder and I will fold. You are telling manipulators, users, opportunists, and weak-minded people exactly where the door is unlocked. Then when they walk in, you call it bad luck. No. It is pattern. It is training. It is repetition. Think about your own life. The friend who only calls when they need something. The partner who keeps disrespecting small agreements. The coworker who interrupts you in meetings. The relative who speaks to you carelessly because they know you won't respond. The stranger who becomes bold the moment they sense hesitation in your voice. These moments look different, but they are born from the same root. They sense there may be no cost. Human nature always explores where there is no cost. Water flows where resistance is weak. People do too. This is why some individuals seem surrounded by respect, while others are surrounded by constant friction. It is rarely because one is luckier. It is because one became clear, and the other stayed available to confusion. You were probably taught to be nice, understanding, patient, forgiving, flexible, easygoing. Those traits can be beautiful, but without boundaries, they become tools used against you. Nice without standards becomes access. Understanding without limits becomes permission. Forgiveness without accountability becomes an invitation to repeat harm. Flexibility without self-respect becomes self-erasure. Many strong people were raised to think goodness means endless tolerance. So they smile while bleeding internally. They call it maturity. They call it peace. They call it being the bigger person. But often, it is fear wearing noble clothes. Fear of rejection, fear of being disliked, fear of confrontation, fear of losing connection, fear of being seen as difficult. And fear is expensive. It costs identity, it costs time, it costs dignity, it costs years. You know the feeling. You replay conversations later and think, I should have said something. You feel anger hours after the moment passed. You imagine stronger versions of yourself in the shower, in the car, in bed at night. You craft speeches for people who already moved on. Why? Because your body knew a line was crossed, but your mouth chose comfort. That split creates suffering. Whenever your truth is silenced to protect appearances, resentment is born, and resentment grows quietly. It poisons confidence. It makes you doubt yourself. It turns simple interactions into anxiety, because deep down, you know you have abandoned yourself before, and you fear doing it again. This is where many people become confused. They think confidence means being loud, aggressive, dominant, intimidating. Wrong. Real confidence is simpler and colder than that. Confidence is the ability to remain loyal to your own standards under pressure. Confidence is calm honesty when tension enters the room. Confidence is saying little but meaning it. Confidence is not proving strength, it is possessing it. The people who test others often rely on one thing: emotional chaos. They expect guilt, panic, over-explaining, nervous laughter, anger, pleading, defensiveness. They expect movement. When you stay still, they lose rhythm. When you become clear, they lose leverage. When you are calm, they are exposed. That is why your first solution is not aggression. It is awareness. Start seeing tests for what they are. When someone interrupts repeatedly, it is a test. When someone jokes at your expense and watches the room, it is a test. When someone ignores your time, it is a test. When someone asks for too much too soon, it is a test. When someone keeps crossing tiny lines to see if you notice, it is a test. Not always malicious, sometimes unconscious, sometimes habitual, sometimes childish, but still a test. And once you see the pattern, you stop personalizing everything. You stop asking, why are they doing this to me? And start asking, what am I teaching them right now? That question changes everything, because now power returns to your hands. If someone interrupts you and you shrink, you teach them. If someone disrespects you and you overlaugh, you teach them. If someone drains you and you remain fully available, you teach them. If someone violates a boundary and nothing changes afterward, you teach them. People learn from what you allow more than what you announce. Your words matter less than your enforcement. That may sound harsh, but it is freeing. It means your future is not trapped in their behavior. It is shaped by your standards. So what do you do differently starting now? First, slow down in moments of pressure. Most people fail tests because they rush to react. They defend too much, explain too much, speak too much, apologize too much. Slowness is power. A pause before speaking creates gravity. Eye contact creates presence. Silence creates uncertainty in the mind of the person pushing you. They expected easy access to your emotions. Do not give it. Second, shorten your language. Weakness often hides in too many words. You do not need a speech. You need clarity. Don't speak to me like that. I'm not available for that. That doesn't work for me. We can continue when you're respectful. No. Short sentences carry force when backed by certainty. Third, remove rewards. If someone gains attention, access, convenience, emotional reactions, or endless chances from bad behavior, they will continue. Human beings repeat what works, so stop making disrespect profitable. Become less available. Become less responsive. Become less emotionally generous with those who misuse it. Distance teaches what words often cannot. Fourth, accept discomfort. Many people remain trapped because they worship comfort in the moment and suffer long-term. It is uncomfortable to correct someone, uncomfortable to disappoint someone, uncomfortable to leave, uncomfortable to be misunderstood. But temporary discomfort is the price of permanent self-respect. Avoiding discomfort creates permanent weakness. Choosing discomfort builds identity. Fifth, become consistent. If one day you tolerate everything and the next day you explode, people do not learn respect. They learn instability. Calm consistency is stronger than emotional outbursts. Quietly uphold the same standards repeatedly. No drama, no speeches, no revenge, just pattern. Pattern is authority. Let me tell you something most people learn too late. Every time you choose yourself, some people will call you selfish. Every time you become harder to use, some people will say you changed. Every time you stop overgiving, takers will feel offended. Let them. Their disappointment is not proof you are wrong. Often, it is proof the old access is gone. You do not need everyone comfortable with your growth. You need yourself intact. There is another layer to this. Sometimes the people testing you are not enemies. Sometimes they are wounded people who only understand chaotic relationships. Sometimes they grew up where boundaries were never modeled. Sometimes they mistake tolerance for love and resistance for rejection. You can understand that without sacrificing yourself to it. Compassion does not require self-destruction. You can care and still say no. You can love and still leave. You can empathize and still protect your peace. This maturity is rare. Many either become doormats or tyrants. Few become clear. Be clear. If you remember nothing else, remember this. People test you to discover who you are under pressure. They test your patience, your standards, your fear, your hunger to be liked, your willingness to walk away, your relationship with yourself. And the real danger was never their test. It was your unconscious answer. But now you are awake to it. Now you can change the answer. The next time someone pushes too far, do not panic. Do not perform. Do not over-explain. Breathe. Slow your body. Hold your ground. Speak simply. Mean it. If needed, step back and remove access. Let consequences speak where words have failed. Because respect does not begin when others decide to give it. Respect begins the moment you stop negotiating against yourself. And once people feel that shift in you, many tests disappear before they begin. Most people lose the game before it even begins because they misunderstand what a test is. They think a test is always loud, obvious, dramatic, hostile. They imagine confrontation, insults, open disrespect, visible challenge. But real tests are usually quiet. They arrive wearing normal clothes, a delayed response, a broken promise, a subtle joke at your expense, a request that ignores your time, a person talking over you and then watching if you submit, someone borrowing your energy while offering nothing back, someone changing standards depending on what benefits them, someone seeing how much inconvenience you will accept just to keep harmony. That is why so many people keep failing. They are waiting for war while being conquered through small moments. The first truth you must understand is brutal. Nobody needs to destroy strong people directly. They only need to study weak boundaries. A person with no boundaries leaks power all day long. They leak it through over-explaining, through apologizing for existing, through saying yes while resenting it, through pretending not to notice disrespect, through staying available to those who drain them, through hoping others will magically become fair. Hope is not a boundary. Kindness is not a boundary. Intelligence is not a boundary. Boundaries are enforced lines. If there is no line, people do what instinct allows. Many still cling to the fantasy that if they are good enough, generous enough, patient enough, others will naturally become considerate. That fantasy has broken millions. Human beings do not consistently respond to goodness. They respond to incentives, consequences, patterns, status signals, emotional leverage, convenience, fear, desire, and habit. Goodness matters, but only when protected by structure. Without structure, goodness becomes a resource to be extracted. This is why some of the nicest people are the most exhausted. They became wells in a desert and wondered why thirsty people kept arriving. Another painful truth. Many people do not consciously plan to disrespect you. They simply follow the easiest route available. If pushing you works, they push. If delaying you works, they delay. If guilting you works, they guilt. If charm works, they charm. If anger works, they use anger. If silence works, they use silence. They are not always evil. They are adaptive. And if you do not understand adaptation, you will call everything personal when much of it is simply behavior chasing reward. This is why emotional people stay trapped. They ask, why would they do this to me? Calm people ask, what behavior am I rewarding? That second question changes your life. Imagine a coworker who constantly gives you last-minute tasks. You keep accepting because you want to seem helpful. They keep doing it because it works. You think they are disrespectful, maybe. But more importantly, the system rewards them. Imagine a friend who only reaches out when lonely or in trouble. You always respond instantly. They continue. Imagine a partner who speaks sharply when stressed and later acts normal. You let it slide each time. It repeats. You call these different problems. They are one problem, rewarded behavior. If you want different treatment, stop feeding what hurts you. People say they want respect, but many actually want comfort. Respect often requires discomfort first. Comfort says, stay quiet. Respect says, speak clearly. Comfort says, let it go again. Respect says, address the pattern. Comfort says, keep them happy. Respect says, keep yourself whole. Comfort feels pleasant in the moment and expensive later. Respect feels tense in the moment and peaceful later. Choose your pain wisely. There is also a deeper layer. Some people test because they are insecure. Weak people often need to feel powerful somewhere. They may challenge kind people because kindness feels safer than confronting true strength. They may make jokes, ignore boundaries, create confusion, flirt with disrespect, or push social lines because they need reassurance that they still have influence. If you react emotionally, they feel larger. If you beg for fairness, they feel control. If you chase explanation, they feel significance. Never donate emotional energy to insecure games. Your reaction can become their medicine. Starve what seeks drama. Another layer, some people test because they fear intimacy. Strange but true. If someone grew up around chaos, healthy stability can feel suspicious. So they provoke to see if you will abandon them, betray them, explode, or collapse like others did before. They create the very pain they fear because pain is familiar. This does not excuse their behavior, it explains it. Understanding motives helps you stay strategic instead of emotional. You can have compassion and still maintain standards. In fact, compassion without standards becomes rescue addiction. You start saving people while drowning yourself. Stop that. Your task is not to heal everyone who wounds from their wounds. Your task is to remain clear. Now understand this principle. Every repeated disrespect was first a tolerated small moment. Nobody wakes up one day suddenly walking over you. They arrive there through tiny permissions. The joke you ignored, the lateness you excused, the broken word you minimized, the dismissive tone you rationalized, the one-sided effort you normalized. Repetition builds reality. If you hate your reality, inspect what you repeatedly tolerated. Many ask how to become more respected. Start by becoming harder to casually inconvenience. That alone changes more than motivational speeches ever will. Let's move into the psychology of presence. Presence is not charisma. Presence is not being loud. Presence is the feeling that you are connected to yourself in real time. Many people can sense when someone is disconnected from themselves. They sense nervousness, approval hunger, people-pleasing, internal hesitation. That energy invites tests because it signals uncertainty. Uncertainty attracts pressure. But when someone feels rooted, aware, calm, and unwilling to abandon themselves, the room changes. You do not need to threaten anyone. Your nervous system communicates enough. This is why inner work matters more than surface tricks. You can memorize assertive phrases and still be weak if your body trembles with the need to be liked. You can say no while apologizing with your eyes. You can set boundaries in words while collapsing in energy. Real power is congruence. Your tone, timing, body language, and action all say the same thing. That is rare. Build that. Scenario. Someone interrupts you in a meeting. Weak pattern says laugh nervously, wait your turn, then resent them later. Aggressive pattern says snap emotionally and damage your own image. Strong pattern says pause, look at them, then calmly continue speaking or say, I'll finish my point. No extra heat, no explanation, just correction. Scenario. Someone texts only when they need favors. Weak pattern says answer instantly to preserve connection. Aggressive pattern says insult them. Strong pattern says respond slower, decline if needed, stop over-investing, let reciprocity become the requirement. Scenario. A partner repeatedly disrespects small agreements. Weak pattern says tolerate then explode months later. Aggressive pattern says threaten dramatically. Strong pattern says address it early, define the standard, observe change, and if no change comes, reduce access or leave. The strongest move is often the earliest calm move. Delay creates mess. Another truth most ignore. Words lose value when overused. If you constantly explain boundaries, repeat warnings, lecture people, justify every feeling, you dilute authority. Say less, mean more. One clear sentence with action behind it is stronger than 10 emotional paragraphs. That won't continue. I'm leaving now. No, we're done discussing this. Silence after clear words creates gravity. Endless talking creates negotiation. Many users and manipulators survive through exhausting conversations. They know if they can pull you into loops of explaining, defending, proving, and emotional chaos, you become tired enough to surrender. Refuse the maze. Simplicity is armor. Let's talk about guilt, because guilt is one of the oldest control tools in human relationships. The moment you start protecting yourself, some people will act hurt. They may call you cold, selfish, distant, changed, arrogant, difficult, dramatic. This is common when someone benefited from your previous lack of boundaries. Their discomfort is not automatically evidence you are wrong. Sometimes guilt is simply the sound of access being removed. Learn to tolerate being misunderstood by those who preferred your weakness. This single skill can free decades of suffering. There is a reason many people remain trapped in draining dynamics. They fear being the villain in someone else's story. So they choose to be the victim in their own. Stop trading your life for a cleaner reputation. Mature people can handle your boundaries. Immature people punish them. Let that sort itself. Another essential rule: never reveal all your pain to those who caused it while they are still benefiting from causing it. Some people do not care because they lack empathy in that moment. Some will weaponize your honesty. Some will temporarily apologize, only to reset the cycle. Observe actions, not tears. Observe patterns, not promises. Observe consistency, not intensity. Intensity fools many people. Consistency reveals truth. A person can cry deeply and still repeat harm tomorrow. A person can speak softly and still disrespect you consistently. A person can charm beautifully and still be empty of responsibility. Watch patterns. Patterns are the biography of character. Now let's address the fear of losing people. Many tolerate tests because they believe setting boundaries means losing connection. Sometimes it does. Good. If the connection required self-betrayal to survive, it was not connection. It was dependency, convenience, exploitation, or illusion. Healthy bonds survive clarity. Unhealthy bonds depend on confusion. When you become clear, you do not lose real relationships. You expose false ones. That exposure may hurt, but pain from truth heals cleaner than comfort from deception. There is also the matter of timing. Correct early. Small disrespect handled early often dies quietly. Small disrespect ignored often grows roots. Do not wait until rage is your only fuel. By then you are already late. Calm correction early protects dignity and reputation. Emotional explosion late damages both. This is why disciplined people seem powerful. They do not carry months of unpaid emotional debt. They settle accounts quickly and calmly. Rule 1. Respond. Never react. Reaction is surrender of nervous system control. Response is chosen action. When tested, slow your breathing, slow your speech, slow your movements. Pressure wants speed. Give it steadiness. Rule 2. Remove rewards. If bad behavior keeps gaining your time, attention, affection, labor, access, or emotion, expect repetition. Cut the reward and watch clarity emerge. Rule 3. Enforce once, not endlessly. If you state a boundary 3, 4, 5 times with no consequence, you train others to ignore your words. Boundaries need action to become real. Rule 4. Protect energy before image. Many stay trapped, preserving a nice image while their energy dies. Choose energy. Rule 5. Do not announce every boundary. Live some of them silently. Fewer replies, less access, lower tolerance, higher standards. Quiet changes often work better than speeches. Rule 6. Detach from immediate approval. In the short term, weak boundaries may get applause because you are easy. Strong boundaries may get resistance because you change the game. Think long term. Rule 7. Know when to leave. Some tests are not invitations to prove strength. They are warnings to exit. If someone repeatedly violates, manipulates, lies, humiliates, or drains despite clear standards, the lesson may be departure. Staying to win every battle can lose the war of your life. Here is the deeper concept tying all of this together. People test you, but the real arena is within you. Every test exposes your relationship with yourself. Do you trust your perceptions? Do you honor your discomfort? Do you need external approval more than inner peace? Do you fear loneliness more than disrespect? Do you confuse being chosen with being valued? Do you think love must be earned through endurance? External pressure reveals internal beliefs. That is why the same type of person keeps appearing in some lives. Not because of fate, but because unresolved beliefs keep opening the same door. Change the belief, the doorway narrows. Believe you must overgive to be loved, and takers arrive. Believe conflict means danger, and boundary pushers arrive. Believe your needs are inconvenient, and selfish people arrive. Believe you are valuable enough to lose people, and many wrong people disappear before entering. This is power, not domination, selection. The strongest people are not those who defeat everyone. They are those who no longer entertain what weakens them. Read that again. You do not need to win every argument. You need to stop entering bad games. You do not need everyone to understand you. You need to understand yourself enough to act clearly. You do not need revenge. Distance often does the work revenge wishes to do. Time reveals who was using whom. Silence reveals who only valued access. Boundaries reveal who respected you and who merely enjoyed your compliance. Most people spend years trying to change others. Wise people change what others can access. That is faster. That is cleaner. That is real authority. So the next time someone tests you, do not ask, "How do I make them stop?" Ask, "What part of me still permits this?" Then fix that part. Because once the gatekeeper changes, the gate changes. And when the gate changes, the traffic changes with it. Everything comes down to one question, and life will ask it in 1,000 different voices. Will you betray yourself to keep someone else comfortable? That is the final test hidden inside every test. It hides inside the relationship where you silence your needs so they stay. It hides inside the friendship where you keep giving because you fear being forgotten. It hides inside the workplace where you accept disrespect because you want approval. It hides inside the family dynamic where you play the old role because growth would upset the system. It hides inside every room where your truth rises in your chest and dies before it reaches your mouth. Most people think power is about controlling others. No. Real power begins the moment others can no longer control you through your own fears. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of loneliness, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being judged, fear of losing access to people who were draining you anyway. The world has always known how to use those fears. That is why so many intelligent people still live small lives. Intelligence without self-command becomes sophisticated weakness. You can explain psychology, quote philosophy, analyze patterns, understand trauma, and still hand your life away if you cannot hold your ground under pressure. Knowledge is not power until it survives tension. This is where most people collapse. They know what they should do. They simply cannot do it when the room gets uncomfortable. They know they should say no, but they panic when someone looks disappointed. They know they should leave, but they freeze when someone promises change again. They know they should speak up, but they shrink when voices get louder. They know they should protect peace, but they mistake chaos for love because chaos feels familiar. Listen carefully. If your nervous system is addicted to dysfunction, peace will feel boring, boundaries will feel cruel, silence will feel threatening, and healthy distance will feel like loss. Many people are not trapped by bad people. They are trapped by old emotional conditioning. They keep returning to pain because pain feels like home. This is why your final battle is internal, not social. You are not merely learning how to deal with others. You are learning how to stop abandoning yourself when emotions rise. That is mastery. There will come moments where someone pushes you, and your old self wants to explain for 10 minutes. Your new self will use one sentence. There will come moments where someone withdraws affection to control you, and your old self wants to chase. Your new self will let silence reveal intention. There will come moments where someone disrespects your time, and your old self wants to tolerate it to seem easygoing. Your new self will become unavailable. There will come moments where someone labels your standards as arrogance because they benefited from your softness. Your old self would defend and prove innocence. Your new self will smile internally and continue walking. Growth often looks rude to those who fed on your weakness. Accept that. You do not owe your old accessibility to people who misused it. You do not owe endless explanations to those committed to misunderstanding you. You do not owe your nervous system to people who bring confusion. You do not owe second chances where there was never first accountability. You owe yourself alignment. That is all. Many ask, how do I become respected? Wrong question. Respect is often a byproduct, not a target. Ask instead, how do I become congruent? When your words, actions, standards, and energy match, respect follows naturally from some, and resistance follows naturally from others. Both are useful. Respect reveals healthy people. Resistance reveals entitled people. Stop fearing resistance. Resistance is information. If someone becomes upset the moment you become clear, you just learned what the relationship was built on. If someone adapts and honors the boundary, you learn something valuable too. Clarity saves time. Confusion wastes years. Think of how many years people lose staying in loops they already understand. The partner who keeps lying. The friend who only calls in crisis. The boss who never changes. The relative who always shames. The person who apologizes beautifully and repeats perfectly. They keep waiting for a new ending from an old pattern. Hope without evidence is self-deception wearing optimism. Mature hope watches behavior. Immature hope ignores it. Choose mature hope. Another truth: closure is overrated. Many people remain connected to toxic dynamics because they want one final conversation, one final apology, one final explanation, one final moment where the other person admits everything clearly. Sometimes it never comes. Sometimes the clearest closure is the pattern itself. The repeated disrespect was closure. The broken promises were closure. The inconsistency was closure. The anxiety you felt around them was closure. The exhaustion after every interaction was closure. You do not always need one last talk. Sometimes you need one last decision. That decision returns more peace than any speech. There is a kind of strength no one teaches enough. The strength to disappoint people who expected unlimited access. This strength changes destinies. Weak boundaries create crowded lives full of demands, noise, resentment, divided focus, emotional fatigue. Strong boundaries create cleaner lives with fewer people, deeper trust, more energy, sharper purpose. Many fear becoming alone when they become selective. But loneliness caused by solitude is often gentler than loneliness caused by bad company. Bad company drains while standing beside you. Solitude can heal while sitting in silence. Learn the difference. Another lesson: not every battle deserves your voice. Some deserve your absence. People addicted to drama often expect engagement. They expect rebuttals, arguments, emotional paragraphs, public reactions, endless loops. Refusing to enter the arena is not weakness, it is strategic conservation. Silence is dangerous when used from fear, but powerful when used from choice. Learn both forms so you can abandon the first and master the second. You must also understand timing. If you wait until rage to enforce boundaries, you will likely enforce them poorly. Rage wants punishment. Strength wants order. Rage wants to win the moment. Strength wants to protect the future. This is why disciplined people appear cold. They are not cold. They are not donating their decisions to temporary emotion. They act while clear. Train that. Pause before responding. Sleep before major reactions. Walk before replying when triggered. Slow breathing is underrated power. The calmer body often produces the wiser boundary. If you want authority, stop leaking certainty through endless explanation. Over-explaining usually reveals one of two things: fear of being disliked or doubt in your own right to choose. You are allowed to choose without courtroom-level evidence. You are allowed to say no because no is true. You are allowed to leave because staying costs too much. You are allowed to dislike how something feels without writing a thesis. You are allowed to become private after being overexposed. You are allowed to change standards after suffering old ones. Permission matters because many adults still unconsciously wait for it from others. Give it to yourself. Let us speak about identity. Every repeated action votes for who you become. Every time you hold a boundary, you vote for self-respect. Every time you break one to keep approval, you vote for self-abandonment. Every time you stay calm under pressure, you vote for inner command. Every time you chase chaos, you vote for old conditioning. Identity is not built in speeches. It is built in micro-decisions under discomfort. That is why ordinary moments matter so much. The text you choose not to send, the invitation you decline, the argument you refuse, the room you leave early, the standard you quietly uphold, the access you reduce, the apology you no longer accept without change. These small decisions look minor. Together they redesign your life. People often want dramatic transformation while ignoring daily thresholds. Your life changes when your tolerances change. Raise what you expect. Lower what you accept. There will be grief in growth. You may grieve people who are still alive. You may grieve old versions of yourself who survived through pleasing. You may grieve time lost in confusion. You may grieve how often you knew better and stayed. Feel it, but do not worship it. Regret should educate, not imprison. The strongest people are not those with no scars. They are those who converted scars into standards. Let pain become precision. Let betrayal sharpen discernment. Let disrespect strengthen posture. Let loneliness teach self-company. Let mistakes become filters. Nothing is wasted if it becomes wisdom. If you want peace, you must stop bargaining with what repeatedly steals it. If you want respect, you must become willing to lose people who only respected your usefulness. If you want love, you must stop confusing intensity with depth. If you want power, you must become less movable by manipulation. If you want freedom, you must detach from needing everyone to agree with your choices. Most people will never understand this because they are trained to seek external harmony at any internal cost. They smile while resentful. They agree while shrinking. They stay while dying slowly inside. Then they wonder why life feels heavy. A divided self is heavy. When your mouth says yes and your spirit says no, heaviness begins. Alignment feels lighter because energy stops fighting itself. Some will say boundaries make you cold. No, bitterness makes people cold. Boundaries often prevent bitterness. Some will say standards make you arrogant. No, entitlement says that when access is denied. Some will say you changed. Yes, you were supposed to. Trees that never change die standing. There is also humility and strength. You do not need to announce growth. You do not need to posture. You do not need to humiliate those who once crossed you. Quiet consistency is enough. Become the person who cannot be baited easily, bought cheaply, rushed emotionally, guilted quickly, or confused for long. That kind of presence shifts rooms without noise. And understand this final truth. Not everyone who leaves your life is a loss. Some exits are corrections. Some endings are overdue mercy. Some distance is medicine. Some silence is protection. Some rejection is redirection. Some loneliness is incubation. Some discomfort is initiation into a stronger self. You do not need to chase every connection. You need to recognize which ones cost too much. Everything comes down to discipline of self-loyalty. When pressure rises, stay with yourself. When guilt appears, stay with yourself. When charm appears, stay with yourself. When fear appears, stay with yourself. When loneliness whispers, stay with yourself. When old patterns call your name, stay with yourself. The world can only negotiate with the version of you that leaves yourself first. Retire that version. Build the one who remains. Then watch what changes. The tests become fewer. The manipulators become restless and move on. The users call you distant. The healthy people feel relief around you. Opportunities sharpen because your energy is no longer scattered. Sleep improves because resentment has fewer places to hide. Confidence grows because trust in self has evidence now. You kept your word to yourself. That is the root of real confidence, not compliments, not status, not money, self-trust. So here is the final rule. If you want the life most people never reach, you must do what most people avoid. Disappoint others when necessary. Tolerate temporary misunderstanding. Endure short-term loneliness. And protect long-term peace. That price scares many. Pay it anyway. Because the opposite price is worse. A life of silent resentment, fake harmony, drained energy, delayed dreams, and slow self-erasure. Most people will never understand this until time teaches it brutally. You can understand it now. Watch your life carefully after this. The next time someone tests you, you will see the invitation beneath the surface. Not an invitation to fight them, an invitation to choose yourself. And if you keep accepting that invitation, one day people will say you became powerful. But the truth will be simpler. You just stopped giving your power away.